Yo, what is up guys, and welcome to the Day 8 recap of the 2016-2017 NBA season. So a lot of flames were set on the court last night. A lot of flames and a lot of Shaq in the Fool moments happened last night. Cleveland versus Houston. This is a game people were looking forward to see how Houston matched up against an elite team of the league. Before this, they've only played Dallas and they played the Lakers. They surprisingly lost to the Lakers, but they beat Dallas twice. Now it was time to test them against an actual legit NBA contender. And for the most part, I'd say they played pretty well. More specifically, James Harden played his heart out. 45 points, 15 assists and 7 rebounds. 45 points, 15 assists and 7 rebounds. He was single-handedly almost too much for the Cleveland Cavaliers, the defending champions, the Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron, Kyrie, and Love. The problem still remains that when James Harden comes off the court, the Houston Rockets suffer a lot. Basically no offense whatsoever. I've said this before. You can see that in the plus and minus in the box score. James Harden was plus 10. When he was on the court, the Rockets were right there in the game. But when he comes off, that's when the Rockets will find themselves down 8, 9, 10, or 11. And then he'd have to come back in, he'd catch them up, but then he'd have to take another rest. So that's the problem. It was like this never-ending seesaw. James Harden comes in, Houston Rockets right there. He goes out, Cavs gain a little bit of separation. The Rockets can beat teams like the Mavericks and stuff like that because James Harden can give them a lead. James Harden can give them a lead, and then when he goes out, sure, they might blow away that lead, but when he comes back in, he can reestablish it. But against elite teams, that style of play doesn't work out too well. I think the Houston Rockets just need someone on that bench. Someone on that bench who can at least hold it down just for a little bit. James Harden doesn't even really need another superstar. If he did, that would be great. What he needs is someone who can come off the bench. Someone that he can rely on when he's not in the game, can keep the team afloat. But you know, Kyrie Irving, let's talk about Kyrie Irving for a minute. Kyrie Irving, late game situation, right wing 3-point shot. That is becoming his trademark. This is the second time this year he has done it. And of course, we all remember from the NBA Finals what he did. Kyrie Irving is becoming one of the most clutch players in the NBA. Him and Damian Lillard this season have been the most clutch players in the NBA. Look at the top of his head. Joakim Noah, look, if you have to think about a shot this long, if you hesitate, and then with your hideous form, absolutely straight up hideous, you probably shouldn't be shooting it. It was not a good game for Joakim Noah. Marcus Morris and Tobias Harris, the Mobias combination, the deadly Mobias combination, those two guys were huge. Tobias Harris had 25 and 10, and Marcus Morris, I believe, who had like, what, 22 points, 22 or 23 points. Carmelo Anthony is still a thing. Carmelo Anthony can still go out there and score. Overall, this was another one of those seesaw games as well. The Pistons would keep trying to pull away, and then the Knicks would get back closer, and then the Pistons try and keep pull away again, and then the Knicks get back closer, and it was just like that the entire night. The Knicks overall, though, still don't have that much team chemistry, and I don't expect it this early in the season. There were plays where they would turn the ball over because they weren't familiar with each other. That'll get better as the season goes on, but for the Pistons, you're still missing Reggie Jackson. Once he comes back, the rest of the league had better be worried. That's all I'm gonna say. The rest of the league had better be freaking worried. The Indiana Pacers snapped their 2-game losing streak. I wasn't worried about the Pacers. I'm sure Pacers fans weren't worried about the Pacers. And you know who else isn't worried about the Pacers? Miles Turner. Miles Turner is not worried about the Pacers. What a block from Miles Turner, yo. That's what you like to see. I love seeing two-way players. Miles Turner is an excellent defender, and his offensive game is still developing. He's already really good in the offensive end, but it is still developing, and he is going to be a huge part of this Pacers team for a long time. It was also nice to see Jeff Teague hit some shot. He only hit 4 of 15, but that's still better than he was the last 2 games. Paul George was huge in this game as well with 30 points, but he also had 4 steals. A lot of people don't mention him for the Defensive Player of the Year award, but he should at least be in the running. Kawhi Leonard, in my mind, is still most likely going to win it again. Paul George should at least get some recognition because he is an excellent two-way player. The San Antonio Spurs finally lost. They go to 4-1 on the season. They finally lost. I can't remember the last time I saw the San Antonio Spurs bench get outplayed. Trey Lyles and Shelvin Mack were huge off the bench for the Utah Jazz. George Hill, though, also had a really nice game, especially in the fourth quarter. He's never really had a bad game so far this year for the Utah Jazz. And keep in mind, they're still missing their #1 player in Gordon Hayward. For the Spurs, I said it in my last video, but I honestly think it's time for a change for the point guard position. I think that Patty Mills should be starting. I don't care if Tony Parker is saving himself for the playoffs. Even if he is, there's no reason he should be playing 33 minutes in the game at the rate he's been playing now. He had his best game of the season, 6 points and 6 assists. But in 33 minutes, you would hope to get more from a starting point guard. Patty Mills gave you 8 points and 2 assists and 15 minutes off the bench. And if you're trying to save Tony Parker for the playoffs, it only makes sense to play him less minutes. But then again, Greg Popovich is an amazing coach, so I'm not questioning Greg Popovich. I'm just saying, I think the Spurs overall would just be a better team with Patty Mills inserted into that starting lineup and Tony Parker getting some play off the bench, which will also be easier for him defensively, as he won't have to guard the first string point guards as much. He can focus more on guarding the second string point guards, which will also help save him for the playoffs. Kawhi Leonard was fire again, by the way. Kawhi Leonard and Marcus Aldridge had great games for the Spurs. Overall, their bench just got smacked by the Utah bench, which doesn't happen often. Zach LaVine exploded last night. We all know us Zachs are capable of setting flames. And Zach LaVine did that last night. By the way, start Chris Dunn. He stuffed the stat sheet. Now, it wasn't like a lot of points. He only scored 10 points, and then he had 5 steals. 5 steals. A lot of people were high on his defense coming into the league, and he proved it tonight that he is capable of playing defense, which is what Tom Thibodeau loves, isn't it? So start the man. They're 1-0 with him starting. Granted, Mike Conley and Marc Gasol didn't play, but still, look, 1-0 with Chris Dunn starting, 0-2 without him. Start Chris Dunn. It doesn't make sense to keep playing Ricky Rubio anymore. Ricky Rubio is a fine player. He is a fine player, but the future of the point guard of this team is Chris Dunn. He has proven that he is capable of playing. He has proven that he can play defense, Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau, you love defense. You love Chris Dunn. I am doing logic for you. Tim Frazier could win Most Improved Player, and Anthony Davis has been a monster. New Orleans Pelicans, please get Anthony Davis a better team. This was a game I was looking forward to, and it didn't live up to the hype necessarily. The Golden State Warriors blew out the Portland Trailblazers. They beat them by 23 points, alright? The rookie Ian Clark came off the bench and went 8 for 8 from the field. 8 for 8 from the field for Ian Clark. 22 points. 22 points, yo. And that was the main difference this game. That along with, Stephen Curry going off for 23 of his 28 points in the third quarter, but, that's basically what did it for the Golden State Warriors. But for the Portland Trailblazers, they did get a bit of a bright spot here. The rookie Jake Layman came in. I'm sure most of you probably don't know who he is. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know who he was. Jake Layman scored 17 points in 8 minutes. He might have earned himself a little bit of playing time. At least it's not just another quick test run to see what he's capable of, because if he can set flames, then the Portland Trailblazers could use him. That's about it for the Day 8 recap of the 2016-2017 NBA season. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We got a lot more games coming up tomorrow, so you guys already know that I'll be right back here recapping that action for you guys. So until then, keep getting the Buckets Team SDC, and I'm out of here. Peace!